Well, you just saw Air Force One land in Milwaukee. The president talks there later on today, in a little bit, actually. The president is also now considering new tax breaks plus additional spending as ways to jumpstart the economy. And it sure sounds a lot like a stimulus plan. You'll remember the White House said the last one saved the country from a depression, but it hasn't really reflected much into the jobless numbers. The number of unemployed people across the country now just under 15 million people, and nearly half the permanent job losers who have been unemployed for more than 6 months. And now there seems to be a real reluctance on the part of the administration to categorize its new plan as a quote-unquote second stimulus. But if they feel the first one worked so well, why aren't they eager to use it again? Ben Ferguson is an Icon Network radio talk show host. Christopher Hahn is a Democratic strategist. So, Christopher, why has stimulus become such a dirty word, apparently?
You know, what's in a name? A rose is a rose is a rose. I guess, Republicans around the country have taken stimulus, the word stimulus, and they've changed it around and made it into something dirty. I think that what's happening here in this economy is that we have to give things time to work. We don't know what would have happened if the stimulus had not been passed, and that's really not a great message that's selling around the country. So we've got to come up with new themes to do this in the 24-hour news world we now live in.
All right, so it's all about message, Ben.
Yeah.
But it's not just the White House that talks about the first stimulus helping us to avoid a depression. There are a lot of nonpartisan economists who also say the same thing. What would the country look like right now, Ben, if we hadn't had stimulus number one?
Look, I don't know if anyone actually knows the answer to that. I'll tell you this much. I think if you look at where the stimulus money went, out of the $787 billion, a massive amount of it is waste. That's the reason why stimulus has become a four-letter word, is because they didn't use the money the proper way. They used it on projects that weren't going to stimulate the economy. How many times in the stimulus package did we hear about green technology and new technology and technology for the future and everything else?
That's a new industry that this country needs to protect. We have to think long-term, too, Ben. We can't just look at what's right in front of us. We need new industries.
But if you're unemployed,
our economy going permanently.
Go ahead, Ben.
If you're unemployed in this country, you don't care about a job that's going to be created 10 years from now. And that's what this administration doesn't understand. People don't care about an electric car if you cannot pay your bills now.
Christopher, let me ask you, because Christopher, hold on one second. We've heard from Mike Emanuel, who is our reporter traveling with the president today, that the administration is saying that even what the president's about to say in about a half an hour or so from now, even that is not going to be a magic bullet. It's not going to help people in the short term. But we've got a midterm election coming up. The Democratic Party is about to perhaps lose control of one, maybe two houses of Congress. Doesn't there need to be some kind of magic bullet, or at least, something that might do something more quickly in the short term?
Well, the problem is there is no magic bullet. I mean, it took us a long time to get into this mess. It's going to take us some time to get out of it. We do need to invest in new technologies and new industries that are going to keep Americans employed and keep us innovating, which has made our country great. We've constantly innovated, introduced new technologies, introduced new experiences to the world.
This is the part you don't get. Everything that you're talking about right now does not help people that are unemployed. When you have unemployment rates at 9+%, when you have people that have been unemployed for 99 weeks on unemployment, all of this stuff coming from the government, 1 in 4 Americans right now is getting some sort of assistance from the United States government with the economy the way it is. Everything you're talking about is great if you're wanting to do something 5 years, 10 years from now, if the economy's in good shape. But this does not pay people's bills.
What would immediately help Americans is the bills that the president and the Congress have introduced that would give small businesses tax cuts, that would extend tax cuts for 97.5% of Americans. They've been blocking everything they can in Congress right now, and we've got to look at what's really going to work and not look at the failed policies of the
The Republicans aren't in charge.
Ben, it's a good point, and we learned yesterday in the Washington Post that later on this week the president's about to talk about that, some kind of a payroll tax holiday for small business owners. I mean, I'm not an economist. I have a hard time balancing my checkbook. But hold on, wouldn't it help? Wouldn't it help if small business owners knew that they were getting a tax break? Might that generate jobs? Is this an idea, Ben, even as a Republican, that might help?
Absolutely. I'm in favor of anything that helps small businesses. But the biggest issue is right now is this president has spent so much money. He's got to figure out a way to get more money coming in. And that's what makes people like myself, conservatives, worried about this president, because when he does get money to spend, he doesn't spend it in areas that help the average American family. So when he talks about, hey, I'm going to help small businesses, he said that with the first stimulus, and small business owners are continuing to struggle or go out of business completely. So you've got to look at what the president actually does instead of what he says.
Ben, there are bills in Congress right now that Republicans in the Senate are stalling that would help small businesses,
Sir,
that would help 97% of a small business. The problem is when conservatives talk about small businesses, they're talking about millionaire, billionaire investors who have LLCs.
Hey, when did the Republicans gain? When did the Republicans gain control of the House and Senate? It's amazing.
Let's not pretend that you don't know how the Senate works. It takes 60 votes to get anything done in the Senate. The Republicans can hold up anything they want, and they have.
Gentlemen, I have to stop.
It's amazing.
I have to jump in right here. A little filibuster on our front. Thank you both so much. Spirited debate, and we appreciate you coming on the holiday, and we'll have you come back another day. Christopher and Ben, enjoy the rest of this Labor Day.
Hey.